Deep in the bowels of the Underhive, there are places that no one dares to go. There are beings that live in these unseen places. Among the muck and the grime and the plasteel and the rockcrete, there are outcasts who are shunned. These beings are known to the rest of Necromunda as mutants. Today, we will use the new Gyrinx.app and explore mutants on Necromunda by beginning a gang build. And then assembling some miniatures. This time on JD in the Sump Sea. Welcome back to JD in the Sump Sea. I'm Jay, and today I'm using the Gyrinx app to build a Mutant Outcast Gang for Necromunda. And if you like Necromunda list building, then perhaps you should consider busting out your Warhammer and smashing that like button, smashing that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of our videos. Now back to building a Mutant Outcast Gang. So I thought I'd use the new Gyrinx app and build a Mutant Outcast Gang. What could possibly go wrong? Let's find out. Going to look at the Gyrinx app. So this was something that just came out recently. It is a new Necromunda gang building program. So I'm really excited to give it a try. And I have actually used it briefly, but I'm going to try and build a new gang. And I'll try and show you what it's like to do that. So let me try and get my login information here. Hold on. What I want to do right now is I want to try and start a new gang from scratch. Okay, so the home page, this is the new list page. Create a new list. What do we want to call this? I think I want to base it off of a Beastman that I had in a Venator gang. And I believe his name was Gorn, so we're going to go with Gorn. We're going to say it's Gorn's Mutants, because I want to make them a Mutant Outcast Gang also. So let's see if we can make this work. So it is an Outcast Gang. Let's see where that is. Where's the Outcast? Underhive Outcasts. That's where it is. Okay. Gorn was a Beastman. Bounty hunter serving under a ruthless man named Enoch. He decided to break off and start his own crew. This is his story now. There we go. Okay. Create. Alignment, I believe we are outlaw. Alliance, we're not going to have an alliance. Outcast affiliation, there we go. And we need to have clanless. Definitely have a clanless affiliation. Saint, we're doing it with Saint. We're not doing that. Okay, so let's add a fighter. Let's start off and see if we can't add a fighter to Gorn's Mutants. So we're going to start with Gorn himself. And he is a Venators. Here we go. They actually have them. Okay. Beastman Hunt Leader. That's exactly what we want. Category override. It's a leader. I don't know if that override their category without changing their type. That's probably fine. Okay, manually set cost. No. The cost would be the cost, 150. All right, let's add Gorn, our Beastman Hunt Leader, to my gang. So what we need to do on him, I need to edit him because he doesn't have basically anything. So he's going to need an archetype And he is a mutant archetype. There we go. So he is a mutant. That's fantastic. We are going to give him a mutation. I really think horrific appearance makes a lot of sense. There are other ones I could do that actually are very effective in game, possibly more so than horrific appearance, but I feel like horrific appearance is the right thing to do. So we're going to go with horrific appearance. Let's see, what weapons could we give him? Let's see what we have. What are our options? When you're doing an Outcast gang, the leaders and champions have a specific rarity that they can pick from. They can pick anything from the trading post at rarity. But we're going to go availability. We want to be 9. There we go. So maximum availability level, 9. And that is good. And here we go. We'll do armor first. And I think one of the things I like to do with my leaders is I do give them more armor than the rest of my gang. So we're going to start with a mesh armor. Armored undersuit. So I like the mesh armor and armored undersuit. So we're going to do that, armored undersuit. And you always got a 4+ save. Okay, armor bionic. We don't need bionics. We have the armor now. Chems, don't want to do that. Field armor, don't care. Gang train, no. Mounts, no. Personal equipment, we did the armored undersuit. Relics, we're not doing relics. What else did we want? Do we want anything else? One of the things about Beastmen is that the negative effects of Friends-On do not affect them. And I would do a Friends-On collar, but it doesn't make any sense for his background. He would never have worn one to begin with, so I don't see the point of giving him one. It just doesn't. It takes away from my immersion when I give gangers, weapons or whatever that don't fit with their background. So I'm not doing that because it doesn't make any sense. I don't really see the point of giving him any of these other things here. Weapons. Here we go. Here we go. So availability, again, we want it to be 9. 9. There we go. Update. Let's search for that. It's loading. Okay, cool. So we got to give him some really cool looking weapons. So what are we going to do? Let's scroll down and see what we have. Probably not going to give him anything like that. We want to do probably close combat because he is good at close combat. But I'm going to pause for here right now because I have actually a bunch of Beastmen that I want to look through and see what they have on the sprue, and then we'll go from there as far as weapons and stuff. So we're going to pause for now, and we'll be back in a minute to look at some Beastmen on the sprue. So I picked up the Felgor Ravager's Kill Team box at a local store that had it on sale, because Games Workshop had updated the box art for the new Kill Team edition, and this art was out of date. You never know when you're going to find a discount on something, so I jumped on this. I then bought some bases from Adepticon from a retailer booth, I can't remember which one. And I have a new unopened box of Hive Scum, which are always useful for bits. And then this is a special Zangor weapon upgrade kit I found at Level Up Gaming when we were in Florida. I had no idea this existed, and so I had to buy it. Okay, let's open up this box set. On my hobby table here you can see a bunch of bits and some colorful models also. The bits I dug out of various bits boxes, and those colorful models are old mutants from the Eye of Terror Codex from 40k 3rd edition. Games Workshop had put zombie sprues and what are now Old World Free Company militia sprues and Catachan sprue and an orc sprue in a bag and labeled them mutants. The idea was you could use those bits to convert up your own unique mutants. So what you see there are a few of the ones that I built and painted from those parts back many years ago. Looks like there are 3 sprues and some bases and the instructions in the box. This first sprue has a lot of specialized parts for the special models that are like leaders or shamans or something like that. I see some interesting things on here like big hands not holding anything, and a whip, and some heads with masks, and a double-headed power axe also. The next sprue has their basic Beastmen bodies and some arms and heads, and the final one is more of the basic Beastmen along with a really cool huge hammer I'm noticing. Looking at the instructions again, I see a Beastman with 3 arms. Maybe this is how I should build Gorn, my Beastman leader, instead. I can give him the mutation extra appendages instead of horrific appearance. So let's start building Gorn, my Beastman mutant leader. There are a lot of bits packed into these Beastman sprues. Like most newer Games Workshop kits, there are lots of bits, and each model that is assembled has many pieces, and the instructions are essential to putting these together properly. Now, a lot of people say that newer models aren't as good at converting as older kits, and they're generally correct. Here's my secret to converting these newer models, because you definitely can convert them. The secret is to put them together to a point. So in my case, I want a Beastman with 3 arms, so I look at the models with 3 arms in the instructions and put together the torso and glue on the 3 arms. Then I cut pieces off from there and glue new pieces on. Now, before gluing on the arms, I cut off the swords because I know I don't want swords. In fact, I went with 1 chain axe, 1 stub gun, and then also an auto pistol instead. Now, the chain axe is an old Khorne Berserker kit chain axe. The 3rd arm, as I said, I decided to give him an auto pistol. Now, I would eventually change this to 2 of the old Khorne Berserker chain axes instead. I initially used a head with a bionic eye and only 2 horns, but as I was looking at him, I didn't think he looked leaderly enough. I wanted something grander. So, I then trimmed some of his beard, and for lack of a better word, and then glued on a different head and put the 4-horn part on top of that head. That looked much more leader-like to me. I think he looks pretty good here, and I slept on it, but during the night, I had an idea. I kept thinking he could only move 4 inches, so how is he going to get around and get in charges, because that's what he is best at, close combat. And I couldn't figure it out until I realized, what about a grapnel launcher? Well, I decided to cut off the auto pistol and put on a holstered pistol on his hip, and in his hand that had the auto pistol, I kitbashed a grapnel launcher instead. So here is his final form. My next video will be going over those Mutant Champions that I showed in the intro. Well, thanks for watching this part 1 of me building a Mutant Outcast Gang. I'll be coming back to this again in the future and finishing the gang both in the Gyrinx app and with the models. So you'll see me build the gang from conception to completion right here on JD and the Sumpsea. But that's all I've got for you this time. Thanks for watching, and as always, please like and subscribe.